Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock, so we can start now. Live stream also have already started. I hope my internet is not choppy. Oh no, last minute, but I hope everyone can hear me clearly, even though my image is not working well. So yes, everyone, once again, welcome to the APHIS Lou Small Grants info session. So this info session is done so that we can give out some important information and cater your questions if you have any later on. So without any further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Megan Hewitt, our APHIS Executive Director, to open this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shannon. And thank you those who are joining us today. Selamat pagi, teman-teman di Indonesia. Good evening for those who are like me in the US or elsewhere. I want to just share a little bit about the background as to how we put together this particular grant program, which is a new grant program at APHIS. So if you're not already familiar with APHIS, we are a nonprofit organization based in the US and Indonesia, focused on expanding fields of knowledge and public dissemination of research on Indonesia in America and globally. My name is Megan Hewitt. I'm Executive Director, and I'm pleased to introduce this new granting program to you all. The APHIS Luce Small Grants Program is going to join one of many of our granting programs. We also have fellowships for U.S. researchers going to Indonesia, fellowships for Indonesian researchers coming to the U.S., and a large collection of annual events, virtual events, upwards of 50 to 70 annually, of scholarship dissemination of researchers, virtual workshops, our annual conference on Indonesian studies. So in many ways, we aim to advance knowledge on Indonesia across scholarship. This new small grants program is a responsive grant that we received from the Henry Luce Foundation, in which we are aiming towards sort of a need that's not already met in our other programs, which tend to be more academic research based. So this small grants program is opening up a public competition for more arts-based or public programming that reaches American audiences, that brings Indonesian studies to broader audiences here. One thing in the background conversations that we brought together in the creation of this grant program is the sense that the diverse arts of Indonesia have long been what attract people to the study of such a vast and diverse place. So in this grants program, we see works of visual and performance arts, language study, translation, and other content of cultural type exchange as important platforms for broadening popular awareness of Indonesia and strengthening its global relevance. So we're especially eager to build capacity at smaller sites of Indonesian studies and among communities of Indonesian diaspora, especially in the US. So this program will fund a variety of small-scale initiatives in a competitive quarterly grant. So right now we are sitting with our first quarter of applications, and are eager to hear what kinds of questions our audience have about maybe what types of projects are eligible for this kind of a grant. One thing that, we are looking for diverse types of programs, which means, it might come in a variety of forms, the types of applications that we receive in within this grant and in this first round of applications. We want there to be impact in knowledge production among American audiences as well. That can be for K through 12 audiences, undergraduate or graduate level, as well as provide sort of outreach and collaboration with members of Indonesian diaspora in the US. This is an area that we see that, Indonesian studies and Indonesian diaspora are often not always associated with one another, and we'd like to see that disconnect. And this funding would also serve to bridge projects that help bridge that disconnect. So I think that's about all of the introduction I'd like to give for the program. These grants are, I should say, just in general, going to be available at the funding amount of $500 to $2,500. And in the application process, you would, of course, an applicant would make a request for a particular amount of funding. So we are also orienting towards events that are ready to launch, public and sort of ready to go, hopefully also with matching funding. If there are larger scale events with bigger audiences would be the kinds of things we're looking for some of the larger funded grants. So we also welcome sort of creative suggestions for what this funding would be best used for within the goals of disseminating, broadly speaking, knowledge of Indonesia among American audiences. So we are excited to fund our artists, our translators, our performers, and our educators who are working creatively with different variety of media in the teaching and connection to Indonesia and Indonesian studies in the US. So let me end there and see if we want to, let's see, Shannon, what would be next on our agenda? Did you want to share some slides or should we begin for some Q&A?
Can I share some slides first?
Okay, great.
Okay, all right. So I will be sharing some slides about some important, just an overview of some important things that we all should consider when we apply. So hold on. So these are some important dates that I'm sure that everyone needs to take note of. So we have opened our application on October the 1st and by this year. And the deadline for application submissions will be by the end of this year, which is December 31st, 2023. And after you have submitted your application, there will be a panel that will review your application submission, and that will be done by next year on January 2024. And after we have the panel have reviewed all the application submissions, there will be a grant decision of if you have received the grant or not. So you will be notified via email. Wait for 2 months. So it will be done. The notification of grant decisions will be done on February 2024. And if by all means you have received the grant, then you have a period of 6 months. So from February up until July, so that's 6 months to do your grant activity period. And afterwards, if you have done your proposed event or proposed activity, you are required to submit a final report 30 days after the proposed event. So those are some important dates, and these are some important notes and conditions as well. So your proposed event and your proposed projects must be designed for audiences in the US, in the United States, and projects should contain. So we're asking for a detailed timeline of spendings in regards of the proposed event, and if grantees are eligible for only one award within the 2024 calendar year, and if the grantees have concurrent awards or matching funds for the proposed event, please indicate them as well in the detailed budget section. And I will go on to just an overview on how to apply. So all applications, all right, must be submitted via online KORC or the ORC grant application portal, or we shorten it as SM Apply. And if you go to the website, you can just type in APHIS or APHIS Lose Small Grant, and the window will show you this. And if you can see over here below the value, there is the big green button that says apply. So please click the apply button and it will directly show you, send you to this window. So this is where you do your application. This is where you filled out things that you need to fill out, submit the things that you need to submit in order in order for your application to be eligible. Okay, so but one thing that I did not put the picture here. Make sure once you're finished with your application, click save and submit don't only click save, but save and submit, because some people are they don't really know what to do next. So make sure you click save and submit in order for your application to be really submitted to the panel to be reviewed. So yes, once again, I think that is all from me, the overview of the technical things. I would like to give this back to Miss Megan or Biosef for
Thank you.
some information. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Shannon. Actually, if you can leave the slides up for a
Oh,
second.
sorry. All right.
No, it's okay. I want to speak to the deadlines because we are going to be running this program 4 times through 4 quarters. So this is the deadline for, this first round of applications, which are open for this sort of last quarter of 2023. So you'll see that the grant activity period kind of follows soon after the quarter. It'll be similar for the following quarters, which will only go through, let's say, the 3rd quarter of 2024, so September, which means all of the grants and all of the grant funding and projects that will be funded by this grant will need to be completed before December 2024. But like I said, there will be 4 separate application phases. So if your event, let's say you have an event on the horizon, wait a little bit closer to the event timeline as it adjusts as to when to apply for the grant. So that was just one thing I wanted to call attention to, that we are going to be offering this in 4 separate rounds of competition. And the idea behind this was to kind of to bring sort of make more access to funding and give sort of a large infusion of little bits of funding across a variety of different kinds of programs. So that I hope, that will generate more and more interest throughout the year. That was just my note about the timeline. Also, the other logistics about submitting applications and not forgetting to click submit. We will also, if you do forget to click submit, we will see that you did that and see that you had a complete application, and we won't deny any application that's complete just because that last little submit button isn't hit. But it's a funny thing about the portal that we use, but it provides us a really easy way for our reviewers to be able to look at your programs that you present. So you can maybe get rid of the slides now, Shannon. So I think that's all that we have to initially present. Why don't we go ahead and open up to some audience Q&A? Yosef Jakababa, who's our in-country representative, will also join us in answering some questions if need. But we'd love to meet some of the community that are with us and answer questions. So feel free to raise hand or put things into the chat. Okay. Project Superia, please join us.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Thank you for this info session. Q&A session already, or are we introducing ourselves? I have some questions.
Yeah, please introduce yourself. That's great.
Okay. My name is Kartika Yahya. I am a producer for a documentary theater project called Project Superia, or Suara Perempuan Indonesia. And I have a question. Just want to make clear from what you explained that this grant is eligible to be in conjunction with other grants if we do have other grants. That's question number 1. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard you say that this particular one is a smaller grant, but you also have bigger grants for bigger projects, and you're open to look at proposals for bigger grants, if I'm not mistaken. And if so, how do we go about that? That is my questions for this morning. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Kartika. It's great to have you here. I'm intrigued by the Superia project. Let me speak a little bit to the first question. Other grants are, of course, welcome. We know that this is a small grant, So between in the range of $500 to $2,500. So it is productive and it makes the funding go a little further if it's matching funds. So if you already have a program that you're working on, but let's say there's some element that is not already included, some element of the budget that could be a part of the performance production, it could be a part of the documentation of performances or whatever the arts are. In your case, I guess it would be more live theater. It could also be in the documenting, editing. So we would be open to suggestions for how it's going to reach different audiences. So that would be my question about the grant funding. And then in terms of this is for smaller grants. For other larger projects, so we do have different funding areas that are largely in fellowship funding. So we currently have, and it is open until the end of November, a fellowship for Indonesian researchers coming to do research in the US. And there are contexts, especially in doing research in the arts, where that fellowship could be productive on top of other collaborative projects in that way. So I would suggest you reaching out to me specifically to talk about that one, as how it would be an individual fellowship. As for larger collaborative programs, we do develop institutionally between our consortium partners, and we're always really open to those conversations, especially if they yield webinars, public seminars, and things like that. But in terms of a specific other larger granting category, specifically for public arts, we don't currently offer. But like I said, with the fellowships and with this small grant and our own collaborative programs, we are, interested in finding interesting ways to support interesting projects going on. The other side of it is that we're offering a new documentary film project that is fellowship filmmaker grants. That will also be available. These will also be small grants for filmmakers at various phases of documenting certain either research or even other public arts, which could be oriented towards curriculum development, could be oriented towards popular awareness. So, think about how your project might fit into some of those different programs as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Megan.
Yeah,
that answers my question, and I can contact you directly if
please
possible.
do.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. I couldn't see your hand, but Margot, I see it. Go ahead. Or I should say.
Thank you so much both for this info session. I
Yeah.
just wanted to confirm several things. So I have one project that involves the sciences as STEAM education, as science and engineering and tech are inspired by or students are inspired through the arts and culture to go into those fields. And then it's already funded, but it doesn't fund any US activity. So then I have another project I'm hoping to do in October. So if I applied for this, it'd be just a small bridge to be able to involve, and that would, I think, especially involve a diaspora community who tend to be in one pocket or the other. Either they're coming to the US for arts, which is lesser, or they're coming for science, technology, engineering, especially in the Bay Area. So this, if I applied, it would be for an October actually discussion on this as part of a larger arts event. So I should apply in the January round, which would then close in March and reviewed in April and decisions by May. Is that sort of the time frame?
Yes, that is the time frame typically. Though I would say if you already have something on the horizon that that is already sort of ready to pitch, go ahead and pitch it early. So, I mean, I would say that there's a general window we want to kind of keep everyone in, but if it were a little bit outside of that margin, I'm not going to be very precise on the end date until it's 2024. So really anyone awarded in this whole next year will need to spend their funds by December 2024. That's the main consideration, that we'd like it
But
to stay within the year. Mhm.
you prefer if I just submit in January for that round, or you're saying that I could
Oh,
submit
it's
now?
not a strong preference. Yeah, sorry, it's
Oh.
not a strong preference on our part. I would say if you have a strong application, go ahead and put it in.
Oh, okay, because I thought I understood from the short questions that it would need to be used by within that 6 months of approval, so that would be before
Yeah.
October, that 6 months. So
Yeah, so
go
it's
ahead.
more important on the end date of it. In fact, it's
Oh.
more of a general window, but the end date is actually a higher priority deadline, December
Okay.
2024 for all of the grants. Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think that answers my question.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
problem. And also, well, just to speak to the connection between arts and in your case, the STEM fields, that, and, I think anything in that sort of knowledge production realm, that, public arts, also public programs in general, like the example Margot's given us, are also eligible, especially that reach younger audiences in addition to more established scholarly communities and diaspora communities. So all of that, it touches on a lot of the nice points of what this is designed for. So just so
Great, thank you.
it's sort of it's meant to be somewhat capacious in that way. So give us your proposals and let's sort of see what we can fund.
Great.
Thank you, Margot. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
If I may, Megan.
Yes, please go ahead.
This is actually Buatwin's questions. In relations to bringing Indonesian arts and culture to American audience, does IFIS lose small grants include funding for small Sundanese arts group to travel to America?
It would, it could, but it would not be enough. We've actually thought about this one. It's
Okay.
not enough because even on the higher end of it, $2,500, that would probably be one person's flight ticket potentially. So, it can be used for that, in a project that, maybe that had matching funds in that case, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would be sufficient to be able to fund much more than one person travel in order to conduct arts, that is sort of to bring a guest musician or dancer. That's most definitely something that would work within the grant. Travel just to attend a conference or a more scholarly event would not be as fundable in this grant. It's so that would be there would be some limitations on it, only just by the limitation of the amount of funding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Megan.
No problem. Happy to. Pat, Joko.
Yes. Hello. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. I'm new to this, but I have been in Minnesota for the last 27 years. I am a gamelan teacher, and my wife is dancer. And we do one of our project is a school residency. So we have some instrument that we can bring to school, and we train students from short term to medium term. Short term meaning in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and then we can have a core group, and then at the end of 2 weeks, we can do up to 4 groups, and then can be 4 group of dance, 4 group of music, and then at the end of the residency, we do performance, and then we invite parents, family, but also everybody in the school, the students. So they see their own friends, the students, and sometimes we do also a group called exposure. So that means they only have 1 or 2 of the workshop, and then by having the workshop, when they come to the performance, they do more appreciate. Wow, that's what they learn for 2 weeks period, and then we are so provide some not full costume, but very up to 100 students in the one performance.
That's
So I
wonderful.
just wondering, in short, yeah, is the type of residency to me it seemed like fit well, but I just want to make sure that it's right. Number one. Number two, I also have a community group that we now working on the more classical, traditional gamelan piece, because some of them has been learning with me for quite some time. Some of them 20 years, some of them 15 years. And now with this new trend of performance, we are going to focus on the meditation setting or yoga center or meditation. So we're going to have play heavier repertoire. Just, in Indonesia, it's very rare now to have all night performance with long pieces. But to me, that is perfectly fit with the what I call it, the community needed. They need to come together and then bring the book or even knitting or even, we serve tea. But it's one of the best way to be in relaxed and contemplated music. And this is one of the new program that we established. We only have, this is our third year, and one of the thing we're going to plan sometime in the winter. So does both activities qualify for this program?
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
They sound fascinating. The school residency, it seems like if that's already, especially a program that you've already piloted and know has particular, proven outcomes, and there's some very specific portion of the funding that can be articulated, then that seems really well suited. Especially because it disseminates Indonesian knowledge to younger audiences, that's really great. And even the music for meditation, we'd need to know sort of what the context of that was. But I think that the gamelan world is ripe for opening up into the new music world and different kinds of interlocuting music collaborations, which gamelan communities in the US are well versed at, and we have some gamelan representatives here too. So I think that the gamelans in the US would be one of the sort of a gateway to so much of Indonesian studies more broadly. So we anticipated a lot of the respective gamelan in the US applying for this and using this in strategic ways, in different ways. And you said, Pak Joko, you're in Minnesota. That's great to know. Thank you again. Yeah. Are there, we're happy to take other questions if there are any. Thank you, Pak Joko.
You're welcome.
Oh, maybe we do not have any more questions. Or if Pak Yosef would be interested in sharing any more details you thought we might be good to articulate for our audience. We had anticipated just having a short, maybe 30-minute session. So we're drawing close to a close if there are not too many other questions. But Pak Yosef, would you like to share any other details you think we might have missed so far? Things that we don't want to forget to tell our audience.
I think you covered it all, Megan and Shannon, about the technical issues and technical concepts, how to apply, and then about the deadlines. And this small grant is a great opportunity to, I believe, to disseminate about and help project that disseminate about arts and related to arts for Indonesian audience, US audience, and also Indonesian diaspora in the United States. But as far as the information and also the technicality to apply, I think you guys get everything. So for everyone who's interested to apply, please do not hesitate to apply for this grant, because this is a great opportunity that the IFES is offering. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Yosef. Yeah, we're very excited about this one. It's a new area for us, and we're sort of open to creative proposals that help us see what kinds of work is being done and what can be done in order to broaden access to Indonesian studies and knowledge on Indonesia. So we're quite excited to see what suggestions you have and what projects we can help support. So with that, I will thank our audience. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you to our team, Pak Yosef, and to everyone for joining us this evening, this morning. We look forward to seeing your applications. Please stay in touch with us. APHIS at aphis.org is the way that you can reach us all most easily. But have a safe day, an excellent rest of your week. Oh, if we had another question, Pa Abdul, we're happy to take another question if we do
Okay.
have one.
Okay, thank you, Megan. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Abdul Rahman. I'm from Universitas Negeri Semarang. Right now, I'm in Semarang, Indonesia. Yeah, I would like to really eagerly to apply this grant, but unfortunately, I just staying in Indonesia. So I'm the researcher of keroncong music. And
Fun.
and,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, how to reach the bigger grant to have a performance of keroncong music in America? Because I think it's maybe it's impossible to have this grant to go to America, United States of America from Indonesia with my team.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And I think it's a question that a lot of arts organizations have about how to bring sort of larger numbers of people in travel. Unfortunately, APHIS doesn't have that level of support that we're able to offer. But, I would suggest things like our fellowships for individual researchers be a kind of link in a chain to other grants where you could establish connections with US scholars and other arts communities, and then grant seek collectively. There are larger granting organizations like the Henry Luce Foundation, who we get our grant for, like the National Endowment for Humanities and the Arts, which, you would need US collaborators in order to apply for some of those. But a collaborative kind of a large music program, I would point you towards different kinds of organizations. Pak Yosef, maybe you have suggestions for this as well. Sort of ways to fund bigger arts programs is a little bigger than APHIS is capable of, but it is, we see our work as sort of initiating a link in a chain towards accessing some of those bigger programs. Would you like to speak to that, Yosef?
Thank you, Megan. To bring a larger group of Indonesian artists to the US requires a collaboration to the US counterparts. That also can be explored. I believe there are some schools or some institutions in the US that might be interested and may have some funding that you can explore, especially schools that or institutions that foster about arts and cultures from non-Western traditions. That's something that we can probably assist in the sense of to ask our consortium members if they have information or some interest in that on that account. But like what Megan said, APHIS itself, we at the moment we do not have the capacity yet to offer a larger grants for a group of Indonesian artists to visit. But we're our visiting consortium members. Probably we have around 38 institutions that may have ideas about where you can obtain such a funding. But I think Megan mentioned about National Endowment for Humanities, Luce Foundation. This is a private organization. I would also check Asian Foundation. Sometimes they have certain funding for specifically for arts. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Asian Foundation and I think Fulbright also some, if I'm not mistaken, Fulbright Indonesia. Sometimes they have some particular but for artists, not for a group of performances, I believe, but artists that can have residency. They may have some program for that, which can lead into an opening for a larger program. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I hope the information helps.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Pa Abdul, for your question. It's a great question, and we want to be able to facilitate these kinds of drawing connections between the sort of the grant that we're offering and other grants and other communities of Indonesianists in the U.S. Our consortium is always eager to find new partners of collaboration. So let us know where there are projects like this, and we'll see how we can connect as well. Thank you again. Are there any other questions from the audience?
Oh, I just want to add the link to apply for this small grants is available in our website and also our social media. And if you see our flyer too, if you receive it, then there's a particular link over there where you can start the application and follow the instructions that provided and also being presented by Shannon earlier.
Thank you, Yosef. Yes. I might even be able to share it real quick. Are you all able to see my screen? If you can take a quick screen capture. Yeah. But that I think that'll probably be, if we don't have any other questions this evening, probably call it a night. Thank you all for joining us. And we look forward to seeing your applications and hearing from you, hearing about what kinds of programs you have to offer. Okay, thank you again. We'll sort of close for the evening.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye, Friday. Bye. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Friday.
Looking forward for application.
Okay, thank you
Again?
again.
I'm sorry, can I email you in person, Megan?